Oh my gosh, look at all these beautiful, amazing people. How are you feeling? Are you feeling good? Yeah, you've had your coffees? I'm going to need a little bit more energy. Are you feeling good? Amazing. Okay, well, I am Andy. I am your MC today. We're about to host an incredible performer, an incredible artist. But before we do, I just want to quickly acknowledge that we're on Dreamland today, and the reason I acknowledge that is because this is a space where for 65,000 years we've been telling stories and we've been creating community, and I love that we get to continue that culture here today. So I just want to acknowledge that and pay my respects to elders past and present, and acknowledge any nerdy black mob here today. This always was and always will be Aboriginal land, and I love that we're here today celebrating culture and creativity. Yes, can I get a yes? Amazing. So I think there might be some fans, I don't know if you're one, that might be a fan of the show Xena Warrior Princess. Are there fans here for that? Are there fans here for that show? Oh my gosh, well then you might like my next guest. Can you please welcome up to the stage the incredibly talented Renee O'Connor. Here we go, come on. I know some of you will be wanting to be referenced for long, so come on. It's totally okay to sit around. I can walk with you. Hello, everybody. How are you going? Great. Oh my gosh. Sorry, it's still going. It's very long, really. You've had a great career, so we've just got to get everything in. Kia ora, everyone. Kia ora. Kia ora. Oh, that's my country. I love that. Kia ora. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. How are you feeling?
I'm great. How's everybody here?
Yes. How's it been to meet the incredible Australian fans?
Yeah, well, you know, it's my first time to Melbourne, so your city is incredible. Not my first time to Australia, fortunately, because I love it here, but this is a whole new experience seeing Melbourne. It's flashy and fun and delicious, so thanks for having me.
We brought the weather out for you. Yeah, you're welcome. This is the best it gets. Yeah.
You know, coming right now from America in the summers, it's a little dry, too many droughts over there, so we're appreciating all the rain, all the water everywhere.
That's true. Has it been an incredible time meeting all of your fans up close and personal?
Can you guys just give me a wave? Are y'all well, can you just stand up and everybody tell me, yes! Yeah.
Getting some energy.
Every now and then, can you give each other a hug?
It's nice. This is Oz Comic Con. People are meeting friends. Has anyone made a friend here at Oz Comic Con?
Who?
It's incredible.
Who's made a new friend today already? All right. That's what I love about the Xena community, is that it's immediately a sense of companionship, friendship for years, 30 years, and our fandom is truly one of the most philanthropic communities I've ever seen. So
it's an incredible community, a wonderful, loving community, and also probably a real gay community. I'm just, putting it out there.
We love to make America gay again.
Yeah, that's true. How do you feel about making a whole generation of young people, myself included, lesbians? How do you feel about that?
The power I have.
Yeah, you've got a great legacy. An incredible legacy.
Incredible legacy. You know, it's funny because when the show first... Did you get my boots? These are my boots from Texas.
Yes.
Woo, baby. You've got the strut, though. I like the strut. You got a strut and you like your boots, too.
Thank you. Yeah, my jelly shoes.
Yeah. I know, the jellies. Where did you find your jellies?
Online.
Online?
By an Australian designer called Melissa.
I grew up in jellies.
Yeah.
Again in Texas. I wore them all the time. Different colors, neons, pinks.
Yeah. These ones are clear, so I can just wear the right color socks.
So good. It's comfortable. You'd want to stay warm.
That's true. That is true. Yeah. I don't want my feet on display. That's free for everyone. No. I'm going to charge for that.
What else? So you're asking me about our legacy.
Yes, I was talking about your legacy.
Yeah, so the thing about the Xena at the very, very beginning is, so Lucy and I were the last to know that there was this whole other subtext going on. Seriously. We were, you know, Gabrielle was like, I just want to be like you. You know, my parents, my family don't understand me, you know? And so the wink was one of our producers, her name was Liz Friedman. And she was one of the masterminds along with Rob Tappert. And she just kind of like clicked, this is our show. We're gonna go this way, you know?
Yeah.
And so we just kept, you know, basically fighting, battling, laughing, and the rest was history. It just kind of became its own little, I call it like the gay canon of television.
Yes.
One of the many, right?
It was this beautiful moment, I feel, where you couldn't say it out loud. And for those who weren't in the community had no idea. They really didn't know.
You say you're secret? No.
Yeah, but all of us little baby lesbians were like this, they're gonna kiss. You know?
Kiss, well, they're not gonna kiss. They're not gonna kiss.
They kissed off screen, I'm sure of it. Yeah, absolutely.
So it was we had to be so careful because I don't know if you're aware, but at the time everything was edited. So they would, depending on which country we were in 80 countries, they would decide within that country what was appropriate to share with the audience. So, you know, I didn't realize like Canada was like putting, you know, taking out places on our bodies. I think like they were in a hot tub or something. And if we would get out of the hot tub, we're covered. But suddenly like there's this kind of gray fog around our bodies. I'm like, why, you know? So it was really odd. So you never really knew the censorship that was happening, ever.
And I heard that you said, I read that you said that if it was redone today, it would have been done really differently and very blatantly.
You know, I don't know that I said that exactly. I like it. That's what she wants. So. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if I said that exactly, or maybe I did. Sometimes you start to reflect and you get a little more discerning and very specific. And the very last time someone asked me, which was like a week ago, what I realize is that so many families are growing up and watching Xena. Yeah. So many of them. So what I would like to see in the future, if there is a new version, that you can still keep that sense of community in the gay and lesbian community that is what Xena and Gabrielle is about, and at the same time bring in empowered young women and a sense of love without the labels. I want to see both of them again. That's what I would like to see.
I think that's really beautiful.
I mean, that's my opinion. But so does it have to be blatant? I mean, it'll be obvious. It'll be a love relationship. But does it need to be graphic? You know, I don't know that we need excessive violence in the world. As long as there's still leather skirts, I'm here for There's always going to be some leather. You know, leather, chainmail.
Totally fine with it. I think
that's why you're all here. You guys are the ultimate cosplayers. You are the ultimate technicians of costumes and fantasy, right? This is our community.
Absolutely. Now, you've had a career that has stretched from the Mickey Mouse Club, which is incredible, and Teen Angel, which I also absolutely loved as a young person. Teen Angel. I do remember Teen Angel. I got a very good night cream. Yeah.
So Teen Angel was it was a small serial that was on the new Mickey Mouse Club. And so when, I remember I was very young, I was about 17 years old, and there was this national audition across America. I didn't know it, I just auditioned for this one little role, and I did get it. And it was to play in the serial. So what we were told is that the Mickey Mouse Club members would sit down with their hats and they'd say, hey, do you want to see what's going on with these friends today? And they would all sit around, and it was like their own little version of YouTube. You know, they'd watch us. And the next day they would finish the serial. So what was wonderful for me, because I came from a very small town in Texas outside of Houston, it gave me the opportunity to have a 7-year contract with the Walt Disney Company. This was back when they were still making contracts. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. But I was at the tail end of it. So by the time I finished the little serial, they pulled all the contracts for the studio system. But it was better for me because then I was able to audition for many different things as opposed to being only with Disney. And then that later on became working for Universal Studios, which is who ran Xena and Hercules. So, but it did take me to California, so.
Yeah, and you've also had some stage time as well, some Shakespearean stage time.
Yeah,
have you had a favourite role, a favourite type of role, or a favourite role to play?
I haven't really yet. I mean, I have played Lady Macbeth a couple of times, and I've played Titania in Midsummer Night's Dream. But the goal for me right now is running my theater company in Los Angeles. It's a small little theater company where we put on the classics. So we're looking for taking classic English literature, taking it to the stage with new adaptations that feel fresh. So I love to play with gender changes and give a lot of women the opportunity to play male roles while still keeping the essence of the story. So I try to do both. For instance, we just put on A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen, and our Dr. Rank was played by a woman. So in America, when you're looking for the rights to put on any stage play, there are certain rules for what you can and can't do when you're casting. And that has only become more oppressive right now in America. So you have to be really kind of curious about how you can take something, create your own adaptation, so that you're not following all those rules that should not apply, and you make something that feels artistic and fresh. And that's what our little theater company is doing. We're taking what are banned books, and we're trying to put them onto the stage. Like we put on 1984, the George L. Orwell novel, which you can't really find anywhere or read in America. You have to really look for it, you know.
Wow, and that's Rock Productions.
This is the House of Bards Theater Company.
Yes, right.
It's a little theater company.
Brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. I love that you're doing that. That is, what makes you want to continue to tell stories? What is it within you that makes you want to tell stories?
I think Gabrielle rubbed off on me, you know. She's a bard,
me too.
you know. So that's, I think I've always been interested in theater.
Yeah.
And so it's just an opportunity to create my own stories and make my own version of it without having to, follow the rules so much.
I love that. Absolutely. Not having
do you
to...
do a lot of theater?
I do a little bit of theatre. Yes, so I have also played Lady Macbeth, and what I want to know, who would win in a fight between Lady Macbeth and Gabrielle? What do you think? Very serious questions here at Ozcon.
Yeah. You know, it's like looking at what's the character that Claire played? What was that character? Altie. It's like taking Altie versus Gabrielle. So, you know, and of course it's going to be Gabrielle. I mean, it's the way of love. It always wins in the end.
That's true. Yeah, and you know.
But
Lady Macbeth probably can't manipulate Gabrielle as well.
Yeah, in the end, Lady Macbeth kind of gets, you know, she goes a little nuts. But it's fun to play the villain.
Very fun to play the villain.
Yeah.
Do you prefer the villain or the hero?
I usually get to the hero, or like the kinder parts, and it feels better at the end of the day. You know, just to do something that makes you feel like you're uplifting and telling a joyful story.
Yeah.
There's a reason I was cast as Gabrielle, you know. I tend to feel better about those. But there comes a point sometimes where you need to fill in the void and what's available. And like I say that because I was looking for the opportunity to play something in the Shakespeare canon, and Lady Macbeth was the first opportunity that I had to audition, and it just happened, you know. And then the second time that I played it, it was for my own theater company, but I met this amazing director that reminded me of Michael Hurst, who's our New Zealand's very famous actor. But he reminded me of Michael Hurst, who's a challenging director, and I thought, if I'm ever going to play this role again, I want to play it with someone who is going to really shift the idea of Lady Macbeth. And he brought in a whole other idea of how she loses her mind, you know.
Love that. She's so fascinating too, such a fascinating character.
I don't think I'd want to play her again though. How about you?
I would play her every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I'd
love that one in scene over and over. Okay, well I want to give everyone a chance to ask their questions. So if you have a question, pop up your hands. One of our lovely volleys will come over for you. If you can't put your hand up for any reason, ask the person next to you to put their hand up. And if you feel too nervous to speak into the microphone, the volley can speak into the microphone for you. I don't want anyone missing out on being able to ask their question. So yeah.
And thank you all for coming here. You know, I know it's not easy to travel. It's a very large country and it takes hours to get around, and I just appreciate you all for waiting and being here. Thank you.
My question was, does it ever surprise you that there just keeps seeming to be more younger Xena fans just popping up all the time?
Yeah, again, it's not about us. I'm not surprised anymore. I think I was a couple of years ago. Because we took a break, you know. We started coming back to get ready for the 30th anniversary. Can you imagine? 30th anniversary of Xena. And it was a couple years ago I started to notice that there were so many young girls coming up. And now I'm just really thrilled. Like, I'm excited to be here because I want to see more of that. I really, truly want to see more strong female archetypes. And that's not to say I don't love the guys. I do. You know, we need our men and our wonderful role models. It's just a really important time to remind the ladies, all the young ladies, that you're unique and beautiful when you hear so much noise around you on social media and everywhere else. And I'm not even talking about sexual orientation. I'm just talking about like just loving who you are. And I want to see that. And usually the families who are watching Xena are they're just open-minded, you know, and I love it. Absolutely love it, appreciate it.
Fantastic. A question in the middle here.
Hi. I was wondering what your thoughts were on the reboot script by Javier Grillo Marx that Rob Tappert commissioned a few years back. Did you get a chance to read it?
What's her name again?
My name?
What's your name?
Oh, my name's Alice.
Hi, Alice.
His name was Javier Grillo Marx. I'm definitely butchering that pronunciation. I'm so sorry.
The powers that be don't necessarily ask me to read the reboot. So I know if there's ever a question about Gabrielle, sometimes people will watch the work that as I portrayed Gabrielle, or they might just observe me doing weird, silly things because I'm odd. And I think they kind of pull in the essence of Gabrielle in those ways without actually, without asking me about anything. In the end, Gabrielle is all of our characters. We all resonate with her. We all love her as we do Xena. And I just hope whoever does create a reboot, whenever that happens, however that happens, that they just keep the essence of the love of the character intact.
Would you jump into a reboot though?
You know, at this point, I want to see somebody that's really fit. That's gonna like jump around and do cool things, you know, that I don't really need to do. I remember in the very first seasons, I was so crazy. I would literally jump up and down like I was doing a jump rope before every take. Because, you know, I wanted that sense of excitement of, you know, I'm a young warrior and I want to be like you. So I think I'd be the crone, maybe. I'm a warrior crone somewhere in a shop somewhere selling potions that I took from Lady Macbeth that
I love that.
I'm changing with alchemy.
I think you're writing it right now. You're writing the script. It's fantastic. We have a question on the side here.
Kia ora, hey.
Kia ora.
I just wanted to ask, so Rob Tappert has said that making Xena was like capturing lightning in the bottle for him. I was wondering, from your perspective, the fact that it was shot in Aotearoa, New Zealand, what did that kind of contribute to that magic, I guess, of it all?
Absolutely, New Zealand is a character, you know. I think if you watch and you follow our careers, you know Lucy has her own show right now, My Life is Murder, and she talks about how she tries to show Auckland off as a character. Xena and Hercules were both beautifully shot because of the magic that Aotearoa offers. As a kid growing up, one of my favorite movies was a Jane Campion movie called The Piano. And it just changed me because it was so poetic and beautiful. I thought, where is this magical place? And it seemed very dark and cold and muddy and stylized. So when I went to New Zealand to shoot Hercules, I couldn't believe it was the same place because there was a lightness to the people and a lightness to the land. Surrounded by nature, there's a friendliness with the New Zealanders where they're extremely welcoming. And so it wasn't the experience I expected from the piano, but later on, looking at the filming, I could see that we captured a lightness, like the yin and yang of the country. We captured something else, but it was, yeah.
Absolutely. A question in the middle here.
Hello.
Hello.
I had a question about, I guess, when you first read the character of Gabrielle, or even as the show developed, what sort of personal things, or I guess things that weren't in the script, did you want to bring to Gabrielle that I guess you had the creative freedom to do?
They cast me as Gabrielle because I understood her sense of humor. I mean, the audition for the role was to be in the scene with the Cyclops, So, and I just thought, the thing about Gabrielle is because she's a storyteller, this was her opportunity to be like a lawyer. Like she's advocating for the greater good, and she didn't understand that she was small, And that was my approach to Gabrielle, and actually I think that was my approach all along. Because Lucy's taller than me, she's bigger than life, and I always thought if I could be like her, what would I look like? How would I move? And that was always sort of my way into feeling like a warrior, because it's not what I thought I'd ever try to be on television. And so that was unique. And then they realized that I had a little more depth, I guess. And so they started giving me all the scenes where I'm crying, or like I'm brokenhearted, or I'm crucified, And so they kind of dug that in based on what I could bring to the character. But that's it. They really just kept throwing stuff at us, and we were told a couple days before we started what we'd be filming. Like we'd hear, oh, we're going to film a rock musical. All right, okay. Oh, we're going to go up against legions of Romans. All right, okay. We just kind of, I love the diversity of it all. It's great.
A question over here.
On the humour in the show, is it ad-lib or written into the script?
We had an amazing talent pool of writers. Some writers just have a natural affinity for creating a joke in the setup, and other writers would have the ability to tell more of the saga and the gravitas of the characters and bring that out to life. So it all depended on the writers. One thing that was really unique about our show is we were on the very early end of having the internet with chat rooms talking about the show. That was new for us. And so Lucy and I, who were kind of hidden away in New Zealand, were mindful of the influence that the fans had on the show, which is back to the very first conversation of were we aware of the subtext? It did affect the writing, and it did affect what we realized was unique about our show. And then then Rob Tappert had one of our amazing fandom writers, Melissa Good. She brought her in to write an episode of the show. So again, it was the first time that someone came in and kind of broke through the system, landed in the writer's room in Los Angeles, and wrote for Xena and Gabrielle. That's amazing. It doesn't happen.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible. A question in the middle here.
Hi, my name is Zadra. At the moment in Australia, there's a 24-hour Xena streaming service, and there's a 24-hour Xena streaming service on some of the TV format things.
Wow. Wait, right here in Australia?
Yeah.
24 hours a day, you can just find a way to watch Xena? Where? How?
I think it's digital 1024 or something. It's a digital channel.
Okay, we're all doing that on
Looking
TV.
it up.
Anyway.
I've never heard of that. And honestly, it's hard to find, so.
We just recently saw the episode where Joxa, Xena, and Gabrielle were all obsessed with Xena being into fish.
you being into yourself, Joxer is Tarzan. How hard, when playing stuff like that, is it not to laugh at each other?
It's funny because when Lucy and Ted and I are working together, it feels like a gift. Talk about lightning in a bottle. There's something about our sense of humor that just melds together, and we find each other and the situation really funny. But at the same time, we tell the story. It's really weird in that way. We really rarely have any bloopers, and we would rarely make each other laugh. So occasionally when it did happen, those were the one or two opportunities where we would break. But it was just weird. I don't know, there's just something, it's like theater, you know? You know when the writing's good and the characters are locked in, and you just go and you just do it. That's what it felt like, and it was such a breeze and so enjoyable. One of the things I miss the most is that sense of chemistry with Lucy and Ted and some of the other amazing actresses and actors we had.
Incredible. A question over here?
I'm so sorry. Hi, it's me again. Kia ora. Okay, can I paint a quick picture for you, Renee? I know I heard you say before you weren't sure about being part of a reboot and what that would look like, but say the right amount of money came flowing down from Universal and it all looked awesome and it's all going, the script is all written, you're in your Gabrielle outfit standing in front of Lucy in front of her outfit.
Comfortable.
And your characters are just seeing each other for the first time. What do you reckon the first lines that Xena and Gabrielle would say to each other after 30 years?
It's about time. Where have you been all my life?
That's so nice. And then you just cry and cry. It'd just be an episode of cry.
We would go, yippee! And then we would just have a good time and find Ted.
I love that. Were the costumes comfortable?
The costumes, were they comfortable? I mean, well, is that comfortable? It's not bad. Yeah, it's funny because it feels somewhat practical, which is weird because when you're in a fight scene, you want to have some leather that bends and moves, which I think is why I loved the later years of Gabrielle, where I could move and it wasn't a really long prairie skirt, you know. But it felt cold, you know. I mean, if you look at the weather here and you're running around in a very small outfit of cloth, it's a little chilly. That's about it. That was the only challenge, I think.
That's good.
Yeah.
A question up the front here.
Hi.
It's,
When you were talking about the editing before, I used to somehow, I don't even know how, in the late 90s, get American versions on VHS. Fallen Angel, I think it was about half an hour shorter in the Australian edit than, it was the two episodes, so the last one and Fallen Angel. They're about half an hour shorter in Australia than they were in America.
Why?
I can't remember why, but I remember that was the case. My question is that I know a couple of people who still have not seen the last two episodes, and they refuse after all this time. They will not watch the last two episodes at all. I was wondering if you've ever heard that before.
I have, and you guys are all shaking your head. Are y'all, come on, you haven't seen it? I won't tell you how it ends. I won't tell you how it ends. You wiped it from your memory. Come on, y'all, it's art. Come on. No, I mean, Fallen Angel, first of all, that was such a clean episode. I don't understand why it was edited.
The one before it, perhaps.
Not sure, but if you get a chance to watch Fallen Angel, it's beautiful. Some of the effects came out of Weta. Again, I'm such a techie person. I love the way we make the show, but we would have special effects come out of Weta and also K&B. Does anybody know about K&B? Okay, so K&B, yes, no, maybe? They are the original guys who brought together Evil Dead. They were Sam Raimi's and Rob Tappert's go-to guys, and they did all those crazy, weird stuff. We have moved on to make the Walking Dead series. I mean, two of them. I mean, one with that way, Greg, and the other one, Howard, just runs their effects shop. But they're cool people. I mean, these are like real people you can talk to, and they're so talented. So they came out for Fallen Angel, to help out. See? Oh, okay, the Ides of March. Yeah, I'm not really sure why they would take it. Ides of March was beautiful. I mean, it was this lovely, really heartfelt scene in the jail cell, which was one of my favorite opportunities. Anything like that with Lucy and I, where it was really quiet, was magical. But anyway, watch Fallen Angel, see some great effects.
Amazing. And question up the front here.
Hi, Renee. My question is, in the episode Tsunami, we know that the prank of the cabbages, with most of the scenes that you were in, I want to know what other sort of pranks were you either part of, or that you heard that most of us haven't probably heard of.
So what happened with this, there was an episode called Tsunami, and they literally put together these water tanks in the middle of our studio. So look at this warehouse. We had water tanks that were to film different sections. And we would be in one water tank for about 7 days. And they thought it was a nice sense of texture in the lens to have cabbage kind of floating around with some barrels. And well, they didn't realize that after a while that the cabbage would make cabbage soup, because they were trying to keep the water warm for us. So I swear every day, have you ever smelled cooked cabbage? I mean, do you know what I'm talking about? So imagine that sense of, oh no, we have to get in this again. Oh no. It was potent for sure. And then you'd go home afterwards and it wasn't very, very flattering. But anyway, I'm sensitive to smells. I love the smell of cooking. I'm not a cook, but I appreciate it was tough for me. And then, so Lucy would she's mischievous. She'd kind of push the cabbage into my shot while I'm talking. So there's this cabbage going by, and I'd be eyeing it, going, oh no, it's coming. And you can't do anything about it because, you can't nudge it out of the way. And then I think it was, of course, Bruce Campbell, who's also very cheeky, pushed the cabbage the other way. You guys, get out of here.
Was that in your pores, in your hair? I feel like cabbage is a smell that sticks to you, right?
Yes,
Oh
I still have that.
Every now and then,
sorry,
the faint smell of cabbage.
It's not something that I try to make. I can't make cabbage at home. It's just no more cabbage.
So fair.
No more cabbage.
A question in the middle here.
I noticed in the credits there's things at the end Jox's nose wasn't damaged in the making of this episode, but his crossbow was severely damaged. Did the cast have any input? Because I noticed that different episodes have different little comments at the end.
Yes, at the end of all the episodes, at the tail end of the credits was a little caveat joke. I thought it was from our producers. I don't know, and I never asked. It's a great question. But I always thought that it was Eric Grundeman, who just has a really cheeky sense of humor, and he was our American in charge of Hercules and Xena. It sounded like his humor to me. I could be wrong though. That's a good question. And they always made stuff up. Yeah, for instance. I think it was the one where Lucy's running around in the go-go outfit. They just kind of they start adding visual elements as well, a little moment, kind of a mark, just to mark the ending, Yeah, good question.
It's a good question, and it remains a mystery. I like that. We've got time for one more. Where is our... Oh, over here. Wonderful. Go ahead.
First of all, hi Renee, pleasure to meet you. I didn't have really a question, but I wrote something out because I knew I'd muck it up and not say all that I wanted to say, but I just wanted to say thank you, not for just playing Xena, the fearless and loyal, for playing Gabrielle, the fearless and loyal companion to Xena, but for being a silent warrior for the rest of us, for the girls who didn't quite fit. You contributed to the girl power movement as well as made queer women back in the 90s realise that they weren't alone and weird. In the 90s, we didn't have much, but we had you. And through your performance, we saw possibilities of bravery that didn't need armour, of softness that wasn't weakness, and of love between you and a character, Xena, that didn't need to be shouted to be real. You helped so many girls become women, and so many queer women feel less alone. You lit the path for so many of us before we even knew we needed one. So thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for writing it. You're a writer. If I could pick a gift that I could have right now, it would be to be a bard and a writer. So thank you. Cool. Thank you
now
so much.
we're all crying.
What you did.
That was the perfect way to finish.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you.
And can you please thank Renee? Put your hands together.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes. May I get a photo?
Yes.
With all of us too? Yes. Do you mind standing up and I'll get a photo if you don't mind?
Amazing. Stand up, look warrior-like. I'll get down here. I love this. Cheese. Say cheese, everyone. Keep going, keep going, keep going, yes. It's the wrong way. This is very fun. Do you want me to? I'll get one of you. Okay, we're gonna. Okay, this is great. This is good content. I can get it the other way. Okay, we're gonna. Yes, ma'am. Okay, and now it's your turn, and now it's your turn, and now it's your turn, and yours, now it's your turn. Beautiful, beautiful, amazing. Please put your hands together for the incredible Renee. Thank you so much. If you want to meet her, you're going to be doing some signings and some photos and stuff like that. Make sure that you go over and you meet our incredible artists, incredible guests. We've got more coming up here on the main stage very, very soon. So make sure you stick around.